Hiroshima began not with a bang, but with a vision. In the late 16th century, a powerful lord named Mori Terumoto stood looking out over the wide, flat delta of the Ota River. He saw a perfect place for a castle. The land was protected by mountains and open to the sea. It was a place where goods could easily be traded and a capital could be built. So he started construction on his new castle, naming it Hiroshima, which means wide island. This castle became the heart of a new city. People came to live and work around its strong stone walls. The town grew quickly, spreading across the 7 rivers of the delta like a fan opening up. The city flourished during Japan's long period of peace under the Tokugawa shogunate. Hiroshima became a bustling center of commerce and culture. Merchants from all over the region brought rice, salt, and other goods to its busy markets. The rivers were filled with boats carrying supplies and people. Artisans crafted beautiful things, from delicate pottery to fine textiles, and their work became known throughout the land. The city was a place of opportunity, a place where families could build a life. Its streets were alive with the sounds of commerce, the laughter of children, and the quiet hum of a community growing stronger with each passing year. It was a city built on water, connected by bridges, and defined by its peaceful prosperity. As Japan began to open up to the world in the Meiji era, Hiroshima changed with it. The city was not just a place of old traditions, it embraced the future. The first railroad line reached Hiroshima in 1894, connecting it more firmly to the rest of the nation. This new connection brought new ideas, new people, and new industries. Factories began to appear alongside the traditional workshops. The city's port was developed, allowing larger ships to dock and carry Hiroshima's products out to the wider world. It was a time of great excitement and transformation, as the old castle town began to look and feel like a modern city, ready to play its part in a new Japan. This modernization, however, also brought a new identity. The city's strategic location, with its excellent port and flat land, made it an ideal military base. During the First Sino-Japanese War in the 1890s, the emperor even moved the imperial general headquarters to Hiroshima Castle temporarily. This decision cemented the city's role as a military hub. Barracks, training grounds, and supply depots were built. The city that had once been known for its merchants and artists was now also known for its soldiers and its importance to the growing Japanese empire. This dual identity, a city of culture and a city of military might, would define Hiroshima for the next 50 years. By the 1930s and into World War II, Hiroshima's military character had become dominant. The city was the headquarters of the 2nd General Army, a crucial command center responsible for the defense of all of southern Japan. Its port, Ujina, was a major embarkation point for soldiers and supplies heading to the front lines in China and Southeast Asia. The city hummed with the constant activity of war. Factories that once made textiles or sake now produced weapons, uniforms, and military equipment. The clatter of industry was the sound of a nation fully committed to its war effort, and Hiroshima was at the very center of that effort. Life for the people of Hiroshima was shaped by the war. Every morning, the city's residents would hear the bugle calls from the nearby army barracks. Men were drafted into the military, leaving families behind to worry and wait. Women and children were mobilized to work in factories or help with civil defense drills. Food and other essential goods were rationed, and life became a daily struggle for many. Yet a sense of routine persisted. Children still went to school, though their lessons often included military training. People still gathered at local shrines to pray for victory and the safe return of their loved ones. They were ordinary people, caught in extraordinary times, doing their best to live normal lives in a city dedicated to war. Despite its military importance, Hiroshima had been spared the heavy bombing that had devastated other major Japanese cities like Tokyo and Osaka. By the summer of 1945, this lack of destruction made people uneasy. Some believed the city was being saved for something worse. Air raid sirens were a common occurrence, sending people scrambling for shelter, but the bombers rarely came. This strange peace created a false sense of security for some and a growing sense of dread for others. The city was an island of relative calm in a sea of fire, a pristine target waiting for an unknown fate. On the morning of August 6, 1945, the city awoke to a clear, sunny sky. It was a perfect summer day, children were heading out to help clear fire breaks, a measure to protect the city from conventional firebombing. Office workers were just arriving at their desks. People were going about their daily routines, just as they had the day before. The streets were filled with the familiar sights and sounds of a city starting its day. No one could have known that in a few moments, their world and the world itself would be changed forever. The routine of daily life was about to be shattered in the most terrible way imaginable. At 8:15 in the morning, the sky over Hiroshima split open. A single American B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, had released its cargo. The atomic bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, detonated about 600 meters above the city center. There was a silent, blinding flash of light, brighter than 1,000 suns. In that single, horrific instant, a wave of heat, estimated to be thousands of degrees Celsius, radiated outwards. It was so intense that it vaporized people, leaving only their shadows burned into stone steps and walls. The city that had stood for centuries was incinerated in the blink of an eye. Immediately following the flash came the blast wave, a monstrous wall of air moving faster than the speed of sound. It flattened nearly everything within a 2-kilometer radius. Buildings made of wood and brick disintegrated into dust and splinters. Concrete structures were gutted, their frames twisted into unrecognizable shapes. The iconic Aioi Bridge, the bomb's target, buckled. The blast tossed people through the air, shattered glass for miles around, and created a hurricane of debris. In a matter of seconds, the bustling, vibrant heart of Hiroshima was transformed into a vast, smoldering wasteland of rubble and ruin. Then came the fires. The heat flash had ignited thousands of small fires across the city. The blast wave fanned them into a single massive firestorm. It consumed what little was left standing, trapping thousands of people who had survived the initial blast. A strange, dark rain began to fall. It was black rain, thick with radioactive dust, ash and soot from the fires. It stuck to everything it touched, poisoning the land, the water, and the people who desperately drank it to quench their thirst. The sky turned dark, and the city was plunged into an eerie twilight, a hell on earth created by human hands. The human cost was catastrophic and immediate. Tens of thousands of people were killed instantly. Others, horribly burned and injured, wandered aimlessly through the ruins, their skin hanging from their bodies. They were dazed, confused, and desperately searching for water and for their families. The rivers were choked with the dead and dying. There were no doctors, no hospitals, no one to help. The survivors, known as the Hibakusha, were left to face the unimaginable horror alone. This was not just a military attack, it was the obliteration of a city and its people, a wound that would never fully heal. In the days and weeks that followed the bombing, Hiroshima was, well, a landscape of death and despair. The surrender of Japan on August 15, 1945, officially ended the war. But for the people of Hiroshima, the suffering had just begun. The survivors faced a new, invisible enemy radiation sickness. People who seemed to have survived the blast without serious injury began to fall ill. They suffered from high fevers, hair loss, and internal bleeding. No one understood this mysterious illness, and it created a new wave of fear and death. The Hibakusha were not only physically scarred, but also socially stigmatized, as many people feared their sickness was contagious. The immediate challenge was simply to survive. Food was scarce, shelter was non-existent for most. The city was a vast graveyard, and the task of clearing the rubble and cremating the dead was overwhelming. Yet, amidst the utter devastation, small signs of life and resilience began to emerge. People cleared small patches of land to plant vegetables. A streetcar, patched up and barely running, clattered through the ruins just 3 days after the bombing, a powerful symbol that life had to go on. These small acts of defiance against despair were the first steps on a long and difficult road to recovery. Rebuilding the city seemed an impossible task. Some even suggested that Hiroshima should be left as a ruin, a permanent memorial to the horror of the atomic age. But the people of Hiroshima refused to let their city die. Led by Mayor Shinzo Hamai, they were determined to rebuild. In 1949, the Japanese parliament passed the Hiroshima Peace Memorial City Construction Law. This law was unique. It didn't just provide funds for rebuilding, it declared that Hiroshima should be rebuilt as a city dedicated to the cause of international peace. This vision gave the people a purpose beyond mere survival. They were not just rebuilding homes and streets, they were building a symbol of hope for the entire world. The early years of reconstruction were incredibly difficult. Materials were in short supply and the economy was in ruins. People lived in makeshift shacks built from salvaged materials. Yet, they worked together with a shared sense of purpose. Slowly, painstakingly, a new city began to take shape. Schools were rebuilt, bridges were repaired, businesses started to open again. The citizens of Hiroshima, who had lost everything, poured their energy into creating a future from the ashes of their past. Their incredible strength and determination showed the world that even after the most profound destruction, the human spirit could endure and rebuild. As Hiroshima was reborn, its leaders and citizens made a conscious choice. They decided that their city's new identity would not be one of victimhood, but one of advocacy. They would transform their tragic history into a powerful message for the world. The centerpiece of this vision was the creation of the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. The park was built in the open ground at the hypocenter of the explosion, an area that had been the bustling commercial and political heart of the city. Instead of rebuilding it as it was, the city turned this ground into a sacred space for remembrance and reflection, a green oasis dedicated to the memory of the victims and the pursuit of a world without nuclear weapons. Within the park stands its most poignant and powerful symbol, the atomic bomb dome. Originally the Hiroshima Prefectural Industrial Promotion Hall, it was one of the very few buildings left standing near the hypocenter. Its skeletal dome and shattered walls were a stark, immediate reminder of the bomb's destructive power. A debate arose over its fate. Some wanted it torn down to erase the painful memory. But many others, including survivors, argued that it should be preserved. They believed it must stand as a permanent physical witness to the horror of August 6, 1945. Ultimately, the decision was made to preserve it. And today, the A-bomb dome is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a silent, haunting testament to both human cruelty and the hope for peace. The Peace Memorial Park is home to many other important monuments. The Children's Peace Monument, inspired by the story of Sadako Sasaki, a young girl who died from radiation-induced leukemia, is covered in thousands of colorful paper cranes folded by children from around the world, symbolizing a collective prayer for peace. The cenotaph for the A-bomb victims holds the names of all the known victims of the bombing. It is inscribed with the words, "Let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat the evil." This phrase is not just for the people of Japan. It is a solemn promise directed at all of humanity, a pledge to learn from the past. Every year on August 6th, thousands of people from Japan and around the world gather in the park for the Peace Memorial ceremony. At exactly 8:15 a.m., the moment the bomb detonated, the peace bell is rung, and the entire city falls silent for a minute of prayer and reflection. It is a deeply moving ceremony where the mayor of Hiroshima reads a peace declaration, recommitting the city to the goal of nuclear disarmament and urging world leaders to work towards a peaceful future. The ceremony ensures that the memory of what happened here is never lost, and that Hiroshima's call for peace continues to echo across the globe. Today, Hiroshima is a vibrant modern metropolis. It is a city of more than 1 million people, with wide boulevards, bustling shopping districts, and thriving industries. A visitor arriving today might see little physical evidence of the city's tragic past. The scars on the landscape have healed, replaced by parks, office buildings, and a sophisticated public transit system. It is a testament to the incredible resilience and hard work of its people. They did not just rebuild what was lost. They built a city that is larger, more prosperous, and more forward-looking than it ever was before the war. The city stands as living proof that recovery and renewal are possible, even after unimaginable devastation. Yet beneath the surface of this modern city, the memory of 1945 is carefully preserved and actively shared. The Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, located within the Peace Park, documents the event in harrowing detail. It displays artifacts from the bombing, tattered clothing, melted roof tiles, a child's tricycle, and shares the personal stories of the victims and survivors. The museum does not seek to assign blame, but to show the reality of a nuclear attack. It is a difficult but essential experience, designed to educate future generations and to impress upon every visitor the absolute necessity of preventing such a catastrophe from ever happening again. The story of Hiroshima has become a universal lesson for humanity. It is a story about the catastrophic consequences of war and the unique horror of nuclear weapons. But it is also a profound story of resilience, forgiveness, and the enduring power of the human spirit. The Hibakusha, the survivors, have spent their lives sharing their testimonies, not to spread hatred, but to advocate for peace. Their voices, filled with pain but free of vengeance, have become the city's most powerful message. They have transformed their personal suffering into a global mission to ensure that no one else ever has to experience what they went through. Hiroshima's legacy is a dual one. It is a somber reminder of our capacity for self-destruction, a warning of what happens when conflict escalates to its ultimate conclusion. But it is also a shining symbol of hope. The city that was reduced to ashes has risen to become a global advocate for peace and reconciliation. Its story teaches us that even from the deepest darkness, it is possible to build a future based on understanding and compassion. Hiroshima remembers its past not to dwell on it, but to build a better future, reminding us all that peace is a choice we must make every single